We started talking about porn addiction a couple days ago. I want to continue that today and probably for the next couple days as well. I want to read from my book, and this isn't a shameless promo for my book, although if you haven't read it, you should. It's called Seriously. But I can't say it any better than I said it in the book, and I quoted Dr. Norman Doidge, and I want to quote him again. So this is from my book. Porn addiction isn't sex. It's a cheap imitation and not the real thing. While it's true that most guys masturbate while watching porn, it doesn't necessarily mean that the two are connected. Lust takes the gift part of sexuality out of the picture. It becomes something it was never intended to be. Dr. Norman Doidge, in his book called The Brain That Changes Itself, describes how pornography causes rewiring of the neural circuits. In a study of men viewing internet pornography, the men looked uncannily like rats pushing the levers in an experimental Skinner boxes. Like the addicted rats, Dr. Doidge points out, the men were desperately seeking their next fix, clicking the mouse just as the rats pushed the levers. In addiction, Dr. Doidge goes on to tell us, causes lifelong neuroplastic changes in the brain, and this includes porn addiction. Dopamine is also involved in plastic change. The same surge of dopamine that thrills us also consolidates neural connections. An important link with porn is that dopamine is also released in sexual excitement, increasing the sex drive in both sexes, facilitating orgasm and activating the brain's pleasure centers. Hence, the addictive power of pornography. The men at their computers looking at porn were uncannily like the rats in the cages of the NIH, pressing the bar to get a shot of dopamine or its equivalent. Though they didn't know it, they had been seduced into pornographic training sessions that met all the conditions required for plastic change of brain maps. Since neurons that fire together wire together, these men got massive amounts of practice wiring these images into the pleasure centers of the brain, with the rapt attention necessary for plastic change. They imagined these images when they were away from their computers, or while having sex with their girlfriends, reinforcing them, etc. Each time they felt sexual excitement and had an orgasm when they masturbated, a spritz of dopamine, the reward neurotransmitter, consolidated the connections made in the brain during the sessions. It is in this way that pornography becomes a serious addiction, comparable to heroin or crack cocaine addiction, and begins its slow and deadly assault on the brain. And as other research has shown, it facilitates callousness in sexual relationships, sex completely divorced from love, and an interest in family and children. Problem, isn't it? Well, we're going to talk more about this, and folks, it's really important that we understand that this is a very serious problem and a very serious addiction. You know, we go after alcohol addiction or addictions in other areas, but porn addiction is one thing that people don't really cover. And when, as the doctor here said, that it's the same kind of a addiction that compares to heroin or crack cocaine addiction in the brain, we realize that we have a serious problem to deal with. So the first step is to say, you have a problem. That's the first step. If you're struggling with pornography, you need to say, I have a problem and I need to take care of it. I need to get through it, and I need to realize that pornography is not sex. Pornography is addiction. And so I'm going to leave it there for today. The first step is to admit that there's a problem, and we'll go to step number 2 tomorrow. God bless you. Have a great day.